Hi friends, my name is Badri. In this video, we will see how to write prime number program in one line using Python. So let's get started. Before we learn how to write code in one line using Python, there are three concepts that has to be kept in mind before we start out to write this code in Python using one line. The first is list comprehension. The second is how for outer loops and inner loops work. And the third one is the all function in Python. So let's see these concepts one by one briefly before we start to write Python one-line code for prime number generation. Coming to the first concept, that is list comprehension. So a list is an iterable that which is represented using square brackets, and it can contain items of different data types. List comprehension is a concise way of producing a new list. It's just a way of producing a new list by taking into consideration a different list which meets a certain criteria. So we are using a for loop. So this range function in Python starts from 1 to 10. So this is the normal way of producing even numbers in Python. So you check whether the number is divisible by 2. If the remainder is 0, then that number is an even number. So now comes the concept of list comprehension. So list comprehension provides a way to generate even numbers in a concise way. So this is list comprehension, which looks more readable to generate even numbers. You can see in list comprehension, the for loop, the if loop are all placed inside one list, and the result is as well printed here. So everything is done using one line. So this is an example of list comprehension. So the second concept is for inner loops and for outer loops. So this is how a for loop works. So for x in range of 2, so the value of x starts from 0 by default by the range function. So the values goes from 0 to 1. If we print the result, we'll be getting 0 and 1. So this is how a single for loop works in Python. Now coming to the for outer loop and inner loop. So this is the for outer loop and this is the for inner loop. So the value of x starts from 1 and it ends at 2. It goes from 1 to 2. And the value of y starts from 0 because the starting value is not given. So the value of y would start from 0 and it will end at 1. So this is how the for range works. So the x value is taken as 1 and the y value is taken as 0. So the first value would be 1, 0. And next the y value is taken as 1. The x value is 1. So the x value would be 1, 1. The next it goes, so the y loop ends because it went until 1. Again, the value of x gets incremented to 2. So the value of x is 2 and the value of y starts from 0 again. So it prints 2, 0. And again the y value gets incremented to 1, so it prints 2, 1. And the for loop, outer for loop ends because it will go until 2. So it comes out of the loop and it prints the value x, y successively inside the list. So this is how the list comprehension works. I hope you got a good idea of how the outer for loop and the inner for loop works in Python. So the third concept is about the all function in Python. So the all function in Python takes an iterable as an input. Iterable is nothing but is an object that can be looped over by using a control structure such as a for loop or a while loop in Python. So the all function returns true if all the elements inside the iterable is 1. If any one of the elements is 0, then the all function returns false. So in this case, one of the elements inside the list is 0. So the all function would return false. So by keeping these three concepts in mind, that is list comprehension, for outer loops and for inner loops, and the all function, we can see how to generate prime numbers in one line using Python. So let's get into how we can generate that code for prime numbers. Let's take an example 7 to see how this program works. So let's take the value of x to be 7. So to get the big picture of what this program would generate, it would just generate the prime numbers from 2 to 9. So it's generating from 2 to 9. So 2357 is the output. So let's see how this works. Let's take an example of 7 to see how it works. The value of x is 7. The for loop in y would traverse from 2 to 6 because the range function would go 1 less than the ending value. The ending value here is 7. So it would go from 2 to 6. The first value in y is 2 now. So the value of x is 7. So 7 mod 2 is not equal to 0. Mod is remainder. So 7 mod 2 is not equal to 0. So it would return true and the value would be 1. So the all function has one value, that is 1. So next, let's take the next value of y, that is 3. So 7 mod 3 is not equal to 0. Again, it's true. So the value 1 is returned in the all function. Again, 7 mod 5 is not equal to 0. So value 1 would be returned to the all function. And finally 6. So 7 mod 6 is not equal to 0. So the value of 1 is returned in the all function. So since all the values in the all function is returned as 1, the all function would return true and hence the value 7 would be printed. So this is how the program works. So let's take an example for a number which is not prime. So let's take an example of 8. Consider the value of x to be 8 and the value of y would traverse from 2 to 7. 2 to 7. Consider the first value 2. So the value of x is 8. 8 mod 2 is equal to 0. Value would be returned as 0 because it's the condition to be satisfied is not equal to 0 but it's equal to 0. So the value 0 is returned. So let's take the next number, that is 3. So 8 mod 3 is not equal to 0. So 1 is returned in the all function. Next, let's take the number 4. 8 mod 4 is equal to 0. So the value is returned as 0. Similarly, the next number in y would be 5. 8 mod 5 is not equal to 0. So the value 1 would be returned in the all function. And next comes the number 6. 8 mod 6 is not equal to 0. So 1 is returned. And finally, the number 7 would come in y. So 8 mod 7 is not equal to 0. So it returns 1. By taking all these values in the all function, few values are 1 and few values are 0. So only if all the values in all function is 1, the output would be 1. So since few numbers were divisible by 8, so the value returned was 0. So even if one of the values is returned as 0, then the value of x would not be printed. So that is why 8 is not printed in this list. So this is how the program works. Basically, the big picture here is it takes a number x, it traverses from 2 to that number x. Whatever numbers were divisible between 2 to x, if any of the numbers between 2 to x divides the value x, then we can clearly tell it's not a prime number. So the value returned would be 0. So all function would return 0 or false as the output. So that particular value in x, which is taken in the outer for loop, will not be printed. I hope you got a good idea of how Python one-liner works. For more such videos on Python one-liners, please make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It motivates and encourages us to upload a lot more videos in the future. And also do check the description. I've provided a link for the series of videos that have been posted on Python that includes concepts such as lists, tuples, dictionaries, sets. And even if you are interested or to learn Python in 10 minutes, there is also a video in the description that you can check it out. You can get a concise view about the basics in Python so that you can get started with Python. Thanks a lot for watching. Happy coding. Take care. Bye.